Many of us are not only driving our cars, but ourselves into the ground.
Uber get is going up. We're not making enough for living.
Let's keep fighting.
Greetings, Drivers Union Oregon. My name's Nathaniel. I've been a rideshare driver for 8 years now.
Greetings. I am Joe Jackson. I've been a rideshare driver for 10 years now.
And we are honored to be representing you, the thousands of our amazing rideshare drivers all over the state of Oregon. We just wanted to make this video and just share some updates. We've been fighting here in Oregon for our rights for a very long time. And we've been through a lot in the last year, and we know you all have a lot of questions. So we just wanted to make a video and take some time to answer some of your questions and just, share some of what we've been doing and what's been happening in the last year, but especially in the last few months.
As I'm sure all of you have heard, SB 1166 is dead. Unfortunately, the State Bureau of Labor and Industries is an underfunded organization that was going to handle the enforcement of SB 1166 so that Uber and Lyft had to follow all of our guidelines in the bill. In order to achieve that enforcement, they needed to hire employees, and with their limited resources, that required a fiscal note on our bill. With the current political climate and the state budget crisis, that fiscal note was unfortunately not going to happen, and that's why the bill did not pass this year. However, we got further than anyone expected of us. For our first bill, our first legislative session, we got so close. We all tasted victory, and it's bitter to lose at the very end, but we also just have to focus on how well everything went so far. And a lot of that is thanks to you. Thanks to all of you who showed up for the rally. Thanks to all of you who testified, both digitally and in person. It has been an incredible ride this legislative session, and I just want everyone to know that we will not stop.
A merry band of rideshare drivers took two multi-billion-dollar corporations all the way to the wire. We took this huge boulder and we pushed it all the way up a hill and almost got it to the top. And if it weren't for $2.5 million and 14 employees that Boley assigned to enforce our bill, we would have got that thing passed. We got so much support, and we moved lawmakers into action just with our stories, and we still are, and that work is not done. We knew this going in, that this was a long haul fight, and our brothers and sisters, our siblings to the north, it took them over a decade to get their first state bill passed. We're confident that it isn't going to take us that long. We're hopeful that it isn't going to take us that long here in Oregon, here in the Beaver State, but we need to be prepared for this to be a long haul fight. And I know rideshare drivers out there, we're not conditioned for everything to come to us with patience and with time. We're conditioned for everything to just happen like that. You turn on your app, you start making money, right? It happens really quickly. But progress is measured in inches and centimeters and millimeters. And if there is no struggle, there is no progress.
Hi everyone, Senator Casey Chama here. Unfortunately, although issues was a lack of resources, I am promising you that I will fight for you hard. I'll bring back this bill again. I will not stop until we take this bill to the finish line. People who are impacted by issue must take a leadership in resolving those issues. Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to be working with you. Let's keep the fight going.
We've also been making allies in the city of Portland. And so that is where we also need to be putting our focus, into pushing our city councilors, into pushing Mayor Wilson, into fighting for us as well. Because the city of Portland has now passed this increase in the TNC fee to make it go from 65 cents to $2 without supporting drivers and without considering the harm that it's going to do to our driver community. So we need to continue to push our counselors and Mayor Wilson to take a very small portion, just 20 cents, out of each ride to help fund our driver resource center. And this is so important because we know a lot of our drivers, English is their third, fourth, or fifth, or second language, and we need support out there from drivers like us that have experience doing this work and that have drivers' best interests at heart. We don't have a place where we can go to get help when we have questions about sick leave, or if we're deactivated unfairly, wrongfully. We don't have a place where we can go to get legal representation to help get our jobs back. And so this is so important. It's so important for us to have this driver resource center in order to be able to continue to fight for our rights and to continue to expand our rights. We need this driver resource center. So we are going to continue this work, and we can't do this without you. This is we don't call this Drivers Union Oregon for nothing. This is a driver-led movement. It always has been, it always will be. And we know that there are thousands of driver voices out there, not just in Portland, but in Medford, Corvallis, Bend, Eugene, Pendleton, the list goes on, in Salem. And it's going to take all of us, and we can only be in 2 places at once.
Literally.
So we are calling on all of you to go out into the driver community, to go talk to drivers, to spread the word, to get drivers to sign up on our petition, our contact list, so we can share updates. So there's going to be links in the description and the video below. Please go out and follow us on social media on all platforms at Drivers Union or Drivers Union OR. And let's continue to spread the word. Let's continue to get others involved, because the more voices we have, the louder we become, and the louder we become, the more powerful we become. Please, 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 let's keep fighting. Don't give up. I know it sucks. I know it's disappointing, but this is part of the process, and we need to trust that process. We need to continue to put in the work and do whatever it takes to make sure our demands are met, to make sure drivers have fair pay, protections, benefits, and a voice. This is going to take time, but I promise you, if you keep fighting, there's no limit to what we can achieve. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Our hearts are with you all, and yeah, let's keep fighting.
Because when we fight,
we win.
Fair pay, benefits, and protections from unfair deactivation. Every worker deserves all these rights.
We're going to go ahead and call to order the Senate Committee on Labor and Business. Today is Thursday, March 20th, 2025.
My name is Senator Casey Chama. We want to come to you to support for SB 1166. The workers who provide these services are being left behind.
I cannot physically drive 50 or 60 hours a week.
No worker should ever have to choose between their health and their income.
It's really troubling to me that there is so little accountability.
The driver themselves are receiving a disproportionately less payment. I'd like to encourage you strongly to really look at how much you're paying these drivers and be a little bit more equitable.
When we fight, we win! When we fight, we win! When we fight, we win!
call the meeting of the Senate Committee on Rules to order. Today is Monday, April 28.
Over 25,431. No one answered for me. No one give me answer what's going on.
Inadequate compensation, inhumane treatment, and almost no recourse for grievances, quality control, or any other feedback. Rideshare drivers provide essential services to our communities. We deserve to be treated with dignity and compassion.
After years of maintaining a high-profile rating and serving my community, Uber deactivated my account without any meaningful explanation.
I had a choice to make. Be there for the birth of my son, or pay my rent. I was not risking being 60 miles away to make $110 on a 10-hour night.
We cannot have another family have to go through what Mrs. Kelvin has been going through.
Josh drove for Uber for 5 years, diamond status. My husband worked 6 12-hour days because Uber did not pay him. They took more than half of his fare.
Uber and Lyft have so much control over us, our wages, our job status. I was wrongfully deactivated by Lyft, and if it wasn't for the drivers' union, I would still not have my job back.
They should have access to basic minimum workplace protections that many other working people already have.
I am a passenger. I am here standing in solidarity with drivers. My fares have gone up, while drivers' pay has not. How convenient that they also use passengers and vulnerable communities as bargaining chips when workers come together to fight for their rights.
We heard projections of much higher fares if this bill were to pass. Are those calculations assuming that the company's profit margin would stay exactly where it is right now?
I am unable to answer that question at this time.
The two major providers continually say, legislate in a way we don't like and we're leaving. That's not happening, the exit from those states.
Drivers are not being paid a fair and living wage, and they're not getting paid a fair percentage, and they don't have those basic labor protections. So if you want to ensure that the services stay in these communities, we need Senate Bill 1166 to pass.
If it's 12 hours a day, all the time, just to pay your bills, I would definitely be wanting to look for another job.
If all of the drivers that's working for Uber and Lyft in the state of Oregon says we're not going to drive because it costs us more, is that something that you would work for?
I'm a former Lyft driver myself.
How much did you actually pocket?
Honestly, I don't recall any specific information about that.
You actually did it and you can't say, but I think that those drivers, those folks that's doing this work deserve better.
I am going to call our council meeting to order.
Drivers are working long hours for low pay without basic labor protection, and Uber and Lyft keep deactivating us.
The drivers has no basic labor protection at all.
We have serious concerns about the negative impacts the proposed increase of the per-trip TNC fee will have on our driver community.
Drivers need a place to go to get help.
Unless the city of Portland also considers ways that support the struggling drivers.
Portland wants to raise the TNC fee to $2 without supporting us.
The Driver Resource Center could offer legal help at little to no cost for drivers worried about feeding their families after deactivation, translation services for the culturally biased English-speaking AI chatbots that dominate the customer service of both of the current TNC giants, outreach for the massive and diverse driver community with education on labor rights.
Driver union backed almost 1,700 people in Washington. So why don't do it here in Portland to support the brother and sister?
No TNC taxation without driver representation.
Please, Council and Mayor Wilson, set aside a small 10% portion of this fee to fund the Drivers Resource Center.
Together, let's push for fairness, protection, and dignity, because the people who drive us forward shouldn't be left behind. Thank you, guys.
When we fight, we win! When we fight, we win! When we fight, we win! Yeah!
Remember, we always win.
Let's keep fighting.
Let's keep fighting!
One more time.
Let's keep fighting!
Once again, I want you all to give yourselves a big round of applause.